You guys both suck. Oh, whoa! This guy's way better! Oh, that's better.
I'm sick.
I'm so good at all of this guy. He's going crazy. He's going nuts.
I'm so good. Okay, I'm so good I don't even want to keep going.
Okay, so this is We'll Name It on the Pod, episode 8. Episode 8. Crazy. And this time we're talking to Rachel Bobbitt and Justice Durr. And
Hello.
I'm so stoked to have these guys on for like so many reasons. I know Rachel and Justice because we're in the Humber College music program together, and we've been in the same year since first year. And these guys are probably two of my favorite musicians at Humber, hands down. I think, and I'm not just saying that, Justice is definitely one of my, oh no, my headphones. Justice is
Great introduction.
Definitely one of my favorite guitar players at Humber, and Rachel is definitely one of my favorite singers and songwriters at Humber. I'm so excited to talk to these guys, and also just like hang out with Punchu and you guys, and like have you guys ask questions and whatnot too. So that's a cool thing.
Yeah, thanks for having us here.
Yeah.
Yo, thanks for coming.
Yeah.
So,
Travel far and wide.
Yeah.
So to start this off, what kind of things have you guys been up to in like quarantine and stuff like that? Like musically or non-musically, like what have you been up to?
Lots of music for sure. That's definitely been my focus. And I'm not from Nova Scotia, so I've been trying to see as much of stuff out here as I can. Yeah, the nature out here, we've been going to trails and beaches and stuff. So
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
so
That
awesome.
sounds super fun.
I haven't spent a lot of time near the ocean or on the East Coast at all. So
Mhm.
it's kind of been
Totally
my
something
thing.
different.
No
Yeah.
better time than the present.
Yeah. I guess I've been trying to read more too.
What have you been
Hard
reading?
to successfully.
Been trying to write more haikus.
A little bit of that.
How about you, Rachel? What have you been up to?
Yeah, a lot of driving around, honestly. Like being in Toronto, I have my license, but I don't have a car. And I think
Yeah.
also learning to drive in like rural Nova Scotia, it's like I have a license, but I don't really, because I couldn't drive anywhere other than back roads. So been doing a lot of that. A lot of reading too, and some cooking,
Yeah.
which has been fun.
Nice.
Yeah, it's nice to be back home. Also kind of weird with the parents again. I feel like after you move out for long enough, going back home can feel a little weird, but
I can attest to that. Yeah.
yeah.
I'm at home right now too, and it's definitely different.
Yeah, same. I'm also just with my parents, and Jake has also been with his parents pretty much his entire time too. So that's definitely an adjustment.
Hashtag no blunts at home.
Especially when you're trying to do stuff like practice and play guitar and record and
Mhm.
do stupid podcasts. Like both my parents are also working from home right now. So like my mom's like got an office upstairs, my dad's downstairs. So there's not really anywhere for me to go but the backyard right now. So there's that.
At first I was thinking like, oh man, if I end up going home, I'm gonna be like that 20-year-old living in the parents' basement or something. But it seems like that's kind of where everybody is at now.
Yeah.
And that's the normal, parents at home, kids at home, regardless of age.
Yeah, exactly.
Thing.
It's the safest place to be, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Capitalism.
So what things musically have you guys been up to?
A lot of solo stuff. We did some collaborative stuff in the beginning of quarantine, but we don't really have like release expectations for that right now. Some stuff with our friend Marley, and then just some solo stuff as well. You're working on a project, and I'm working on a project.
Yeah. I guess
Super awesome.
After doing the album together, we're trying to focus more on our individual sounds and myself, I finished a project in the last couple months, and I'm planning to release it in the fall. So I'm just working on like press stuff for that sort of. And I've also been working on songwriting myself and trying to work on singing too. Like that's kind of one of my goals for this year.
Sick.
I'm taking
awesome.
a year off school, so I'm gonna try to figure that out because I didn't grow up doing choir or singing in bands or anything. I was more focused on jazz early on, so
Okay.
this is a big jump out of my box, out of my comfort zone, for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Exciting.
So
What have you guys been up to? Are you working together as a band at all? Like long distance or?
did Nate freeze? Or did no?
Go up to the cottage. Like we're going up to the cottage tomorrow. We're gonna do a little acoustic thing.
Yeah. Hopefully get some writing done or something.
I cut out for like 2 seconds. What did I miss in the past like 5 seconds?
Oh,
We're going to the cottage tomorrow.
We're going to the cottage tomorrow. Yeah. Hopefully, get some little bit of recording, a little bit of writing done, acoustic styles.
Exactly. We all recently bought, or not all recently. Jared just recently bought an Art and Lou 3 guitar. And that means all 3 of the guitarists in our band have the same brand of guitars. So I just think that's awesome.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever played one of those. I honestly don't know much about acoustics at all, but I'm trying to find the one that fits me like in this year. I think that's another thing, a goal for my year off is to find an.
May I suggest an Art and Lou 3?
Yeah.
Straight up, try it out. They're cheap. They're Canadian made. And that's probably what's that? Yeah, they're owned by Godin or Godin. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're just so that's probably a reason why they're so affordable is because of the Canadian brand. But they're
Exactly.
they sound beautiful. I think they sound amazing for the price that they are.
Oh yeah.
Mine was so cheap. So
they're not like a Taylor by any means, but like they are very good guitars, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, definitely worth it for the price.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Martin Light.
Yeah, I'll pick it up.
Jake, stop texting me.
Okay, I want to move on to the second question. I just wanted to ask you guys about how you approach making songs together and what that is like. Specifically, just like referring to your album When This Plane Goes Down, because when I listen to it, I can pick out like, okay, that's definitely a Justice thing. That's definitely like a line Justin put in there. Or like, okay, this is Rachel's song, obviously. Well, that's only because I've listened to you guys and been in classes with you guys. But for everyone else who doesn't know, could you just sort of like unpack that a little bit? And then also a second question after that, maybe even talk about when you're not writing songs together, what you guys do and how they compare.
Yeah, I think it worked really well because you mostly like spearheaded the instrumental and the progression aspect of it, and then like you would send me like an instrumental and then I would write some melodies and some lyrics, and then we'd kind of like go from there, and you'd kind of have we should maybe have the melody go this way, or have the lyrics kind of go that way. So it was pretty like we had like our corners, I guess, but we also kind of merged, but we weren't really stepping on each other's toes too much, which I think worked out.
I feel like we worked a lot on this stuff separately, and then, whether that's me coming up with something and then sending it and then you write over it, or the other way around. We work on stuff separately and then come together and kind of refine it. A couple of the songs we wrote actually sitting next to each other, both like working on melodies, guitar stuff. Like Iris Road was one that we did together, like in the same room. But a lot of the other ones were, I would kind of lay down some harmony and some texture and maybe a melody with the guitar, and then Rachel would come up with something else over top of that. I think it created I think the way that like some of the pacing of the harmony and the counter melodies coming first, what am I trying to say here? Yeah, those things coming first rather than like the vocal melody was an interesting and unique part of our process. I definitely find if I'm writing stuff on my own, that's not really how it happens.
Yeah, I think when I'm like writing alone, it's always like me and a guitar, and I definitely tend to kind of fall back into some like predictable progressions and melodies just because they are really comfortable to me, and I really don't listen to too much jazz. I mostly listen to like folk and like alternative. That's so general, but yeah, not really a whole lot of jazz. So you definitely came up with some progressions that I could not think of on my own, and they were definitely like more surprising, I think, than the stuff I would and do come up with on my own. So.
That's awesome. It's like you guys lay the bricks down and then do the grout together.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
I love that.
That's a great way of writing.
Yeah, for sure. If you guys were like out to like write something yourselves, like this is my song, how would you guys start doing that?
You're getting crunchy there, Jer.
Did you guys catch what I said?
I think so.
I'm just like asking, like, if you guys like set up to like write a song, like this is my song, like how would you do it? Would you like sit down and say, okay, I'm gonna write a song now, or does it come out of just like jamming, or is it like how spontaneous is it?
I think for myself, I think for myself, I mean, I don't have a job right now, because I mean the job market in Nova Scotia is kind of dismal baseline, and now with the pandemic, it's like pretty hopeless. So I've had a lot of time to just write, and I think I've never really been like regimented with writing. Like I know like our friend Danny, and he just was on here, so he probably talked about this, but he like sets 2 hours and like writes and like does that. And I have so much respect for that, because I'm definitely the type of person to be like, okay, maybe I don't want to write for like a week, and then maybe I write every day for like 4 days. And it's pretty like sporadic for me. And it kind of just is based on what I'm feeling and if I have something to write about. Because I've definitely had moments where I've been like, I feel like I should write. And then usually when I write out of like a feeling like I have to, I don't write anything good, because I'm just trying to like make myself feel not guilty, which doesn't, it's not necessarily creative. So
I feel that.
Yeah, I just kind of have something to say or some sort of idea or a progression I like, and then I work from there. And yeah, definitely melodies usually first, and then some like words as goalposts for me. But yeah, it's usually just kind of sporadic.
For lyric writing, where does your inspiration come from? Like when you set out to write lyrics, how do you know what you're going to write about?
I think honestly a progression helps me a lot, like with a general mood. And then I don't know, like I said, I'll be like playing a progression, and then maybe like one word at a certain point will just feel like it makes sense. And then I'll kind of build off of that. I do definitely sometimes go into it thinking, okay, I want to kind of write about this thing, but more often I'm with a progression and then kind of get like general feelings that lead to like maybe a specific event that I write about. But a lot of my lyrics, like if I'm feeling like, oh man, like every lyric I write is like shit or it's cliche and it just doesn't feel great, I usually try to read, because like the rhythm of words is really, it can be so beautiful, and like poetry always inspires me, and books too, just like because I feel like I can tell if I write like a not even like decent, but like a bad lyric if I read it out and it sounds terrible, because sometimes singing something can make it sound good even if it's not. So yeah, a lot of like reading and trying to be really critical with myself, I guess.
Cool.
That's cool. It's like flow is really important, it seems like, in like rhythm, but like in a more abstract, like, I don't know, intellectual sense. That's cool. That's very cool.
Yeah, I dig that a lot. I'm super interested in how people are approaching lyrics these days, just because it's something I'm starting to get into, where it's just like completely new territory for me. Like I've done it before, but now I'm starting to like try to make something I like. Whereas the lyrics that I wrote before, like like a year ago, I was like, this is awful. I would never show it.
Man, I have notebooks from when I was in like high school, and I actually like stumbled because being home, I was going through my closet, and I came across some old lyrics, and I was like, oh my god, these are like notably bad. They're not even like okay. It was jarring.
Yeah.
And it's you just feel bad about yourself at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember writing those, and I was like, man, like I'm really doing something here, but I was not.
Yeah, I have like all these Word documents that I found from like grade 8, grade 9 when I was trying to write lyrics, and it's just all just like the world sucks, everyone hates me.
But at the time, you're like, this is so cutting edge.
Yeah, I'm so dark and edgy.
I have something to say.
Jake just said that sounds like my lyrics now.
So sad.
How about you, Justice? Same sort of like writing on your own.
Approaching writing on my
Spontaneous, or are you like Danny and you write 2 hours a day every day?
It's definitely more spontaneous than Danny. I feel like with a lot of instrumental stuff, I come from the perspective of a beat maker or a producer. Like I work in Ableton at the computer a lot, with a guitar and with a keyboard and stuff. But a lot of my instrumental stuff comes from there, like noodling on the guitar and then putting down some textures, and then I just refine that over time.
That's gnarly.
Yeah, I guess I'm really into like hip hop producers like Jay Dilla and like Mike Dean, all these people who are kind of like blurring the lines between just like straight up production and instrumentation. That stuff is kind of what really got me going with wanting to make my own music in the first place. Like mid high school, the stuff I was putting out was kind of like instrumental hip hop inspired by jazz, I guess. So my instrumental process comes from there, and it's just developed over time. Recently, though, I've been trying to do more of the singer songwriter thing and just explore my voice more. And with that, it's, I'll just be practicing guitar and then play a couple chords, and then a progression comes into shape, and then melodies come, and then words suddenly belong to those melodies, and then I'm saying something. That's kind of how singer-songwriter stuff feels for me right now, I guess, even though I've just started it. Yeah, it's very abstract and unknown for me. But yeah, I generally have a guitar with me no matter what I'm doing. And
that's
when
really
I'm
cool.
at the computer trying to generate an idea that's external from it, and then putting it into the computer rather than the other way around.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's almost like you're playing live in front of your computer almost, and then you're just catching all the stuff that like, oh shit, that's dope. That's going in,
Yeah, exactly.
That sounds really awesome.
Just out of curiosity, do either of you ever write with a piano rather than a guitar?
I have. I usually don't. I feel like I took enough piano lessons growing up that I feel like I still see a piano and like only see like certain chord shapes that are pretty restrictive. Like I'm not good enough to like be able to see past that, but I also have enough knowledge that I can't just like see it as totally open. So I feel like for me it's a bit restrictive. But I have written a few songs on piano that I like. I think generally I just have trouble like breaking out of basic chord shapes.
For sure.
Yeah, I write on piano generally if I have one. Like if there's an acoustic piano in the house I'm in or something, I'll gravitate towards it more. But typically I don't love writing on like MIDI keyboards or like synths. I haven't got there yet.
Yeah.
What is I'm curious about your guys' process as a band, because I've never really written in a band setting before, only really like collaborative pairs. So yeah, like how do you guys kind of work out who like fronts what in the band?
Nate, take that one over.
Nate, take this one.
I'll often. Okay. what am I trying to say here? This is what I'm trying to say. More recently, I would say that we've been at like acting in a more like collaborative band sense. Not that we weren't collaborative before, but like now it seems like every member, sans Nick, sorry Nick, you just play the drums.
Yeah.
are writing songs and like bringing songs forward, which is awesome, because before it was more or less just like I'll bring a song in and then we're just gonna throw it in that bucket 18 times and we're gonna try to get as many goes as we can. And what I really mean by that is we're just gonna play it over and over again and like not make stuff on the spot, but essentially make stuff on the spot.
It's kind
and
of
then
a lot of,
it's
oh,
fun.
sorry, Nate.
No, I was just saying it's fun.
It is fun. It's a lot of
Very open.
bringing a song structure. So like chords and lyrics, and this is the basic song structure into the band, and then saying like what we think the other part should be, and then we just sort of build and put our own parts onto it. And then like the more we just add more stuff, and it just like molds into the band song a little bit more than it was the own like that person's song.
Exactly. More often than not, it completely changes after like 15 minutes or something.
Yeah.
And then we're all like, damn!
That's a great feeling though, when you can jam on your own ideas and like collectively just form
Dude,
something. It's like
it was so awesome.
For other people or something like that's a great feeling.
It's because you got like 4 different ears and everyone has a different sound to it. So like sometimes like Nate will bring a song and then he'll be like, okay, I have this part, and like Jared, I'll have this like other guitar part for you, but then me and Jake have it open and then we can do whatever we want. And then it's mostly just like adding, like just like, oh Nick, do this, I'll try doing this thing on the drums. I'm like, damn, I never even thought of like hitting that way. And then it builds so really well.
Yeah, I feel like I remember you guys played for Jared and for your like mini or final. Is that true?
Well, yeah,
Jake did.
Jake was
Jake
there,
did,
and we played like 3 Punchu songs, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like because I remember that performance, I was like, man, like everyone seemed very invested in the songs. Like and the songs were also super good. Like kind of reminded me of like Pine Grove a bit. And yeah, and I'm like a huge fan. Have been since like grade 11. So yeah, I was like really digging. Yeah. Really sick. And then I remember you were like, okay guys, we're gonna go into the final song, and they're like, you're not, because time's up.
Dude.
And I was so bummed.
Dude, I will never not be pissed at that, because I didn't go over 15 minutes. I checked the video. There's a minute of dead air before they turn the lights off, and it didn't even like hit the 15-minute mark. And then there's also people in my class that went to like 17, 18 minutes. And my last song was less than 2 minutes long. So
I hate that. And literally they're like, oh, we're trying to like make it real. Like if you book a gig, they're not gonna let you go over. I'm like, nobody would like kick you off.
That's never happened.
That's never happened.
Like 2 minutes over. Like that's not realistic at all.
It's always been like, one more song, guys. And we're like, okay, you know.
Unless you're doing like an awards thing.
Yeah.
If you're doing like MTV
Jake
awards.
just literally just said that as Nick said that. Yeah, maybe an award show.
Yeah. I've literally thrown shows and let bands play 15 minutes longer just because they want to. Oh, that's so sad.
That's crazy.
That was the most rehearsed song, because it was just the craziest one. Like,
was that Warble?
Yeah, it was Warble. Just time signature wise, and like fucking trying to teach it to Colin was just a nightmare. And
it's like you should have had the drummer of the band play it with you.
Honestly. Yeah, that's
it's okay. I can't do the other shit.
Yeah.
It's great though.
That was that. Okay. Jake's gonna come in and ask a question now. Here, let me hold that now. I think it's my turn to hold the umbrella.
You should have just done that the whole time. Some Mary Poppins vibe.
Yeah. Hey guys, what's up? So my question: you guys have been at Humber for 3 years, right? As long as Jordan. So, what were some of your expectations going to music school? Like, I know I went to U of T for music, and there's a lot of like good and bad stuff that came out of my expectations. So I'm wondering, were some of those expectations met, and were some of them not? And if you could maybe just talk about that a little bit.
Expectations. Okay, so I got to go back to my grade 12 self.
Yeah.
Um, I expected to, this is more of a personal expectation, but I was expecting to stick very on the straight and narrow with jazz going through Humber, but the opposite happened. Like as soon as I got to Humber, I started learning about all these genres I'd been ignoring, basically, and I just started listening to way more stuff. I thought I was going to hyper focus more. I was expecting to hyper focus on like jazz guitar and do that, but in the end, the opposite happened. I learned about more genres, and yeah, it was great. It's been great. Meeting people that are obsessed with different things. Like you guys are into like math rock and stuff probably, and I haven't even really got much into that stuff. And probably after this call, I'm gonna listen to you guys and like, you know, other math rock bands. And yeah, the high school I was at, people weren't really into exploring a lot of different types of things. So I was just going with what I knew, which was jazz. And yeah, I didn't expect to listen to more, which sounds stupid, but I was expecting to hyper focus on the jazz lane, basically.
I feel like
That's
that
really
makes
awesome.
sense though too, because you like you go into it, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to school for this one thing, and it's like,
Yeah,
that's the fucking thing I'm gonna do because I'm spending so
Exactly.
much money on it, and it's like,
Yeah.
but it's a pathway into math.
Math specifically.
Yeah, math specifically.
And what about you, Rachel?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I knew pretty early that I wanted to go to school for music. I wasn't really like inclined towards anything else, so I was like, I should just do this. And I also knew that I didn't really want to stick in Nova Scotia because there's not really much happening. It's like a lot of Celtic music, but not really much else. So yeah, I knew I wanted to go outside of Nova Scotia, and I knew that Humber had like more of a general program than a lot of music schools. I knew I had just started singing jazz like within the year, so I wasn't like a die-hard fan. Like I remember coming to Humber and people were like, "Oh, you don't know what it means to like go to the head of the song? Like that's crazy." Yeah, I don't jazz, but yeah. So the first 2 years were like kind of what I was expecting, and honestly, I think I needed to just have it be super academic because I was like 17 and I was like, music needs to be sort of regimented for me right now. I wasn't really like listening to people that got me sparked. So I think it was good to have it be more like theoretical. And I guess this past year when it opened up a bit more, it was good for sure to have more say in what you focus on, and the production classes were definitely my favorite. Songwriting, honestly, I went into and I was like, this could be really cool. And I remember the first day he was like, everyone tell me your favorite song. And I was like, oh, right now I probably like Between the Bars by Elliott Smith. And he's like, never heard of it, never heard of him. Okay, like, I don't know what that is.
Whose class were you in?
Dave Tyson.
Yeah.
So that was intense. He literally talked about Celine Dion for like a full lesson. Was like, she's peak, like she's like the bar in terms of songwriting.
Crazy.
And yeah,
she got hit by a car once.
Really?
Yeah, she got hit by a car once when she was like a kid.
Man. Yeah, I don't know. Wow. Maybe that was formative to her journey, but yeah.
Yeah, that's.
I feel like that's on.
I don't know. I was going to make a joke, but you can't make a joke about that.
Yeah, I mean, songwriting was good, but also I feel like it's hard to teach a course like that because you got like this 50-year-old guy being like, hey, that lyric is too, like, you're just being sad for no reason. And I'm like, well, what if I'm sad for a reason? Like, I don't know. It was a little frustrating, but I definitely think that the production aspect of it was good.
That's good. Yeah, Humber, from what I know, just hearing from friends, it's a lot more open to changing and molding what you want to do over the years. Whereas like at U of T, you kind of stick to learning exclusively jazz throughout all 4 years. And then if you want to do stuff on the side, you're given the opportunity to do that. But most recitals aren't used to do folk or hip hop or R&B or anything like that. It's more strictly jazz oriented. So that's what I've always appreciated about Humber, is that you kind of just get to choose your own adventure and work on what you want.
Yeah.
It's like the game of life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it also draws in a wider range of people, and that had a really positive effect on me. Just for the same reason you said, like the program is more diverse. So then people who are into math rock, people who are into jazz, people who are into folk all show up at Humber, and then you meet these people and you
Mhm.
form meaningful
straight up.
relationships with them, and then you form meaningful relationships with the music, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's funny. There's a lot of like suppress like other genres at U of T, like people just feeling like they can't. Like,
Yeah.
you want to do out there.
Like you.
Like me, I was one of them. And then like, yeah, a lot of vocalists, rhythm section players that are into different stuff, like weren't able to kind of let that shine. And you're not really allowed to practice that kind of music in the practice rooms either. I remember signs the first week that said, no instrumental math core or whatever, like, or something like that.
That's so fucking
And there's like a
funny.
Then that's
select
literally
group
what
of
we
us that were
did.
like, damn, yeah. And then we
Yeah,
then we
Punchu's practiced at fucking Wellesley. Well, you and Nate also have done some pretty crazy stuff there too, right?
Yeah. That's what happens when you give us 24-hour access
Yeah.
to a
Yeah.
full
Didn't
building.
someone fucking give you shit for that too?
Oh yeah, somebody give us shit, but
That's so funny.
we're not gonna talk about
Yeah, let's not.
that.
Yeah, I was about to belt out a name.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
No names.
No
I
names.
was gonna
No
do it,
names.
Save it for
Like
another
Yeah,
podcast.
don't make
My
me, don't
favorite
make,
type of pizza. No name.
don't make me go through this and have to beep out names.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to do that.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about like what's happening now at Humber? Are you guys going back? I think Justice said he was taking a year off.
I'm taking the year off.
Yeah,
and
it's been a
so-
long journey for me, decision wise. In the beginning, I was like, okay, I guess I'll just go back and bite the bullet. And I also was really concerned about my scholarship because, like I'm a student like all of us, and it's like I don't have necessarily the funds to like dish out when I didn't expect to, just for taking a year off. So because you lose your scholarship if you defer. So that was a
Fuck.
decision. Yeah, which is super messed
very
up.
nice.
Also, just because I was like emailing them, and I was like, I'm gonna defer. So will I be able to keep my scholarship? And they're like, yep, you're good. It's all great. And I was like, awesome, that's great. And then I waited a month, and I like made plans to defer and everything. And then they emailed me, and they're like, hey, so actually you can't. Sorry about that. And I'm like, this is so
That's messed up.
yeah, because they also waited a month. I was like, I made like life choices
Yeah.
in that time, and I emailed them, and I was like super angry. I've like never sent an angry email, but felt very therapeutic. I was just kind of ranting at them, and then they emailed me back and were like, hey, so you'll probably be able to keep it. And now I'm just like, I don't even,
Probably.
yeah.
Now we're just dabbling in probability. It's like, what?
It's honestly, I'd rather them just give a definitive answer at this point. So but I still don't know. So I'm just gonna defer and hope for the best at this point.
Yeah, jeez. Freaking-
Wow,
I'll-
that's
I'll s-
crazy.
I'll say it on this podcast.
Fingers crossed for you.
Yeah, thank you.
Humber
No
administration fucking sucks right now.
Oh my
They
god.
I can agree with
fuck
it.
those guys.
Pew,
Makes me
pew,
so
pew.
mad.
Yeah.
Like just dealing with like the beating around the bush for months with work hours.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. That's why I started this podcast, was to the hope of getting some work hours in. And
We were wondering
just,
that actually.
Yeah.
and like the amount of like the just like it's like, okay, I had a meeting with what's her face, I had a meeting, and then they're like, yeah, well, like you gotta sign some papers, but you gotta wait for those before I give you hours. Okay, a month later, here's some papers. I send them in. Okay, so these gotta get approved, and then another month later, it's like, okay, we'll give you 20 hours for you to write up a business plan. And it's like, really?
Jeez.
Do you know how much time I actually spend on this podcast?
Legit.
Like, yeah, and
Sounds
then
like there is
and-
insufficient funds in the Humber Council bank
yeah,
account.
and then like a month later, they're like, "Oh yeah, you know what? We'll let you pass if you have less hours." And it's like you just like sent me on a wild goose chase for months.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
Hashtag Humber. Fix your shit.
Yeah.
Touching the other
Sorry.
problems like the freaking like the scholarship stuff and
yeah.
tuition is not changing, and
It's actually going up apparently. Which is like yeah.
Yeah, they need all those
Cool
extra
fly
resources for
list
not using
too.
classrooms.
was
Yeah, 'cause
pretty.
I
Oh.
need to fucking buy all those full-time teachers fucking Zoom accounts and shit. So
Yeah, and they're like, oh, rent Pro Tools, and we prefer if you have a Mac. I'm like, that's
Yeah, right.
also like
MacBook Pro is on the school supply list.
yeah, and I don't know, it's just like as people use different DAWs all the time, and I know like Pro Tools is like the industry standard, but some people don't prefer to
But-
use that, and
But barely though. It's not like I think that's only what Humber's telling us. Like, do you know how many people like everyone fucking uses Logic and Ableton.
yeah.
I swear they
Yeah.
get like money
use
from
Pro
Mac
Tools.
because they told me the same thing with my
I
program.
mean, Apple.
Or, yeah, Apple.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah,
Are you
that's
going back, Sheridan?
part.
Pardon?
That was for Jared.
Sheridan, are you going back to school?
I am, just because like I want to get it over with, and I'm like sick of stressing over this shitty fucking program. It's not a shitty program. I'm just like really like I don't want to like make it go on longer than it has to, and yeah, I'm probably gonna go. I'm thinking about going back to school again, so it's not like this will be the end of my schooling. So
Yeah.
I'm
What are you
gonna, like,
thinking of doing?
probably like a master's program in like performance.
Wow.
So just super basic, but yeah,
That's
that's
cool.
what yeah. So I'm like, yeah, the idea is to get it over with, take some time off, like music, and then maybe if I'm still feeling it, apply for a master's program.
Mhm.
But
Sweet.
That's awesome.
begrudgingly though, I'm gonna be salty and pissed all year probably.
Yeah.
Everything going on, but at least I can do it from my bedroom.
Yeah, that's true.
You do a lot of things in your bedroom. That sounds weird.
No, you're right though. I will be doing a lot of things in my bedroom.
Yeah, that's what I meant. I'm gonna ask you guys a question now to get away from what I just said. What's next for you guys? Like, are you thinking about coming back down to Toronto, Ontario anytime soon? Hunkering down in the Nova Scotia? What's good?
Yeah,
The current plan is my family's from Saskatoon, so we're gonna
Yo.
go for the year, and I guess live with my parents for a while, maybe rent. I don't know, but I have a lot of friends and family there. I know a lot of musicians there too.
Sounds like a good time.
Yeah, we're just trying to take a year off, focus on our projects, and save money. That's kind of
awesome.
the next year. And
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I agree with this.
yeah. I guess on a more personal level, just working on singing and trying to figure that out. And
Yeah.
you know, you're working on your project.
Yeah, definitely just a lot of music making, hopefully, and then hopefully a job in my future relatively soon. Because you know, Justin Trudeau's been coming through with the checks, but they're short-lived. So.
Yeah, not with the job opportunities though, unfortunately.
Yeah. So hopefully a job, and it'll be nice. I mean, to be in a smaller space as well. I mean, when we were thinking of going back to Toronto, it was like kind of dicey because even getting there would be tough, and then trying to find a place without actually physically being there to see it, and then rent. I was like budgeting, which I mean felt very adult, but looking at what I was budgeting, I was like, I'm a child because I can barely like stay afloat with rent in Toronto right now. So
It's ridiculous.
It's crazy.
Yeah, we were gonna sink like 1,000 each.
Jeez.
Rent,
Wow.
pretty much, and not
Yeah.
be school,
That's
and
crazy.
Yeah.
groceries and shit on top of that. So,
Exactly. And like internet, phones and stuff, and it's just like, oh, at that point you're just like, it's awesome living downtown, but then you're like burying yourself, and then it's just like, oh,
I can't even
like,
buy myself things to just enjoy the little things.
Yeah,
Mhm.
a cup of
Yeah.
coffee, like you're sweating.
Yeah,
exactly. And it's like what you guys are doing seems like a real, like, I don't know, very healthy thing to do. Just like you're going out, smaller area, less people, but like more music, and like you're heightening all the things that you like, and then like the rest is just secondary. I
Yeah.
admire that.
Appreciate it. I mean, it's also just out of necessity for safety, right? Because who knows
Yes.
what being in Toronto is going to be like in, I don't know, 3 months, and
Exactly.
at least we're there, or we're paying to be there, even if we're not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So just gotta choose the safe option.
Are you-
exactly.
Where are you guys? Like are you in
I'm
Toronto?
in Toronto.
Oh, no. Wait, what's that?
Unfortunately. Yeah.
I'm in Whippy with Jer and Jake, or Brooklyn, but Whippy's pretty much in it.
Brooklyn's a part of Whitby.
Yeah, pretty much. So
You
Whippy.
guys know where Whitby is?
Kind
No,
of.
I don't
It's
think
like
so.
if you get on
Oshawa.
the, if you get on the
Okay,
401
yeah.
yeah,
Basically.
yeah, basically Oshawa.
And Jared's in Oshawa, then, right?
Yeah, me, Jake, and Nick are all like a 5-minute walk from each other right now.
Yeah,
Nice.
Which is kinda
we've been
rad.
hanging.
In high school?
Pardon?
Did you guys know each other in high school, or did you meet like?
Yeah, I think that's when we all met.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Grade
didn't go to the
10.
same high school. Me and Nate did, and then Jer and Jake went to the same high school. Then we merged.
I've been
That's nice.
I've been friends with Jake for too long. It's been we're
Yeah.
it's almost expired. We've
When-
definitely
When me and Nate lived in Whitby, we lived 2 houses down from each other.
Wow.
Yeah, so we were buddies.
Yeah, it was pretty lit.
Damn,
Watched a
I
lot
was
of baseball.
Forget about this. How long we've been hanging for?
Now we're just
Been a
getting
while,
flashbacks.
bro.
Yeah, you know what?
Yeah.
I need to stop hanging out with you guys. See ya.
Yeah, I need some new friends. Jeez.
Oh, the-
Well, I'm excited for when you guys are able to be back in Toronto, when things are
Yeah.
looking a little bit brighter, and
Hmm.
we can all be playing music in front of people
Yeah.
again and whatnot.
I really wish the world was perfect and we were just going back and
yeah,
keep
Mhm.
there's no pandemic.
But yeah, we got to react to the state of the world, I guess.
Yeah, honestly.
Or it'll eat you.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, this was really fun. What? What's Jake saying? What's Jake saying?
Can you just like put up the front porch?
I don't know what he said.
I'm trying to get
To be
into
honest
this
with you.
conversation.
Sorry.
Jer, fill us in. What
What?
happened? What
Well,
happened?
My dad and sister just came to the gate and they're like, "Can you come get the door for us?" And my dad's holding a big box and I have no idea what's in it.
Whoa.
Damn.
See, that's the challenges of trying to do this shit in the middle of the day with my fucking family. That's why Jake's like, "Let's do something on the kitchen table." I'm like, "No." They're probably trying to make their lunch at noon, and they're just in the background.
That'd be fun. Then we could interview your family. We could all interview your family as one collective interviewer.
That's an
Episode 9.
No.
Honestly, that would be a cool idea, though. Just like interviewing all the people who have supported you through your music career and being like, why the fuck did you do that?
Why'd you let this
Honestly,
kid do this?
Yeah, question number 1, why?
Oh, that would be pretty dank as an interview.
All right.
So we're about at time there. So we about to wrap it up. Thanks so much for doing this, guys. It's so good.
Yeah,
to
seriously.
catch up with you.
Thank you,
Yeah,
guys.
it's great to talk to new people. You know,
Yeah.
that doesn't happen so often.
Honestly,
Yeah, honestly, it's great to
these
great-
days.
Yeah, exactly. Just to talk with other musicians and
Catch up.
friends and stuff. Yeah, for sure. So you can help support Rachel and Justice by buying their music, but also liking and subscribing on their various social medias, which I will link in the description. And follow them on streaming services, your usual suspect streaming services. You can help support We'll Name It on the Pod and Punchu by subscribing to this channel and following us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And Bandcamp. Oh yeah. Punchu's on Bandcamp, so buy our music too. I think that's it. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Thanks for watching. This is Rachel, Bobbitt, and Justice Durr. Thank you so much, guys. Thanks for watching. This is We'll Name It on the Pod. Happy Beef Wednesday. Bye, everyone. I hope I can find the pause button.